of Jim Crow, honoring Black history. WZDX News special presentation, Alabama's Hidden History.
Good evening and welcome to Alabama's Hidden History presented by WZDX. I'm Jen Jacobson.
I'm Mo Carter.
And I'm Chase Gallimore. Tonight we're taking a look at some events in Black history rarely discussed which impacted our lives right here in Alabama.
African Americans have made great contributions to our country for centuries. Sure, we know about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, and Rosa Parks. But what about the names you don't know?
During the next 60 minutes, we're looking at some of Black history's hidden moments. Let's begin our journey.
Let's journey to Memphis, home of Beale Street. Beale Street dates back more than 100 years ago.
And of course, it was a neighborhood full of homes and businesses, and one of the few places African Americans could shop in the Jim Crow South.
John Paul takes us behind the music with a look at Beale Street's beginning and its important role in Black history through the decades.
And here's a fun fact. Legendary musician and Florence native W.C. Handy became an international sensation playing his music on Beale Street. Handy is known as the father of the blues and is credited with popularizing blues music.
And now we'd like to take you on a quick visit to a local barber shop that made history here in Huntsville. Here's your guide, Ben Nandy.
No matter where the game is played, the dimensions of a football field will always be the same. But for one of the greatest football coaches in American history, the playing field was never level.
Coach Eddie Robinson won hundreds of games and changed the lives of thousands of young men on a cash-strapped budget. Dan Jovic has a story of how the coach made it possible.
Presentation, Alabama's Hidden History.
The small town of Maroguin in Iberville Parish, with a population of fewer than 2,000 and our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., have a strong link. Welcome back to Alabama's Hidden History, presented by WZDX. I'm Chase Gallimore.
And I'm Jen Jacobson. Now, it may be hard to imagine, but these two places are joined together at the hip. Fred Hickman tells us how. Georgetown University continues to work with historians around the country in an attempt to locate other descendants of the slaves sold to fund the university.
And welcome back. Through the years, the debates wage on about the greatest track and field athlete of the Olympics. But in the 1930s, there was no debate about a young man whose roots began right here in the Tennessee Valley, and his feats unofficially opened the doors for the civil rights movement.
Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated in Memphis in 1968. But do you remember why he was in Memphis?
Dr. King was in town to assist hundreds of African-American sanitation workers who were on strike. Tensions were running high between the city's black community and the white mayor, who had ordered them to return to work. Here's the story of some hidden heroes behind the movement.
It's known as an icon of the Underground Railroad in central New York. Bristol Hill is a simple federal-style church with deep-rooted history in the abolitionist movement.
Jennifer Sanders takes us to the church and to some of the homes where members hid fugitive slaves on their journey to freedom.
And welcome back. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated on the balcony of his motel room on April 4th, 1968.
Leaders in Memphis decided to transform the motel from a place of tragedy to a place of tribute.
Kelly Cook and the museum's lead educator takes us on a tour to show us some of those hidden heroes of the civil rights movement.
Now the museum has the only object known to be owned by Blind Tom. It's a flute that was handmade for him. Stay with us. There's more to come on Hidden History.